Welcome, ninjas, to the Coded Dojo. How's everyone going today? Today, we're going to do some Splatoon. So, while we just wait a few minutes for everyone to make sure that they're here, I'm going to show you what the completed game looks like. I'm actually controlling both players. Now, this version of the game runs out in like 10 seconds. I can change that though. In fact, I might even change that just about now. Just so you can see roughly how this goes. Set the timer to 30 seconds, shall we? So, who here has played Splatoon before? I think, was it a Wii game before it was a Switch game? I know it's a Switch game. Was it? Did it first come out on the Switch? Did it come out on the Wii before? Does anyone know? And has anyone not played it? Or not heard of it, not seen it? That kind of thing. So this game goes to the person who's managed to paint more the blue player one just then. So you can, if I can demonstrate to you, if we make sure that the red player gets way more paint on the screen, we know that it's working correctly. And there's going to be a few interesting things. So I don't know if we're going to get all the way to the end of this one. In fact, I'm almost certain we won't get all the way to the end of this one. So you can see the scores there. The red player has all of this score and the blue player has 0 score. So we know it's working correctly and the red player wins. So we're definitely not going to get through all of this for the in this first session. This will definitely have to have like multiple parts. All right, let me catch up with chat, see how everyone's going. Alrighty. Blake says, "Oh, I've made a Splatoon game before." Yes, in fact, I remember. We did that in Bullsbrook, Coda Dojo, I believe, and I was in. So really, yeah, and in fact, it's a. But this is I've made some improvements to the one that we made in Bullsbrook now, so this should be a good learning experience. Henry's here. What's up, Henry? Hope you're keeping well. So yeah, welcome Blake. Welcome Henry. Welcome Ms. Yeti. Hope you guys are all keeping well. Welcome to everyone else who's in as well. Ms. Yeti says, "While I wait, I'll play Mean Bean Machine." I think I know that. Is that? Yes, I've played the Mean Bean Machine before. That's a pretty fun game. Let's see. How's everyone going? Henry says, "Check out my draw on famous people on Scratch." You've got me to check it out twice, and both times I couldn't actually draw. So I don't know if you tuned into my tutorial on how to make a painting art game, Henry. But if you do, or if you go back and watch the video, you can you'll be able to use that code to make the painting work. Alrighty. Blake is playing some Minecraft. Awesome. Well, you guys wrap up your games now because we're about to start the lesson. I've demonstrated. Hopefully, you've seen roughly how this works. I won't go through all of the code yet, but I'll give you a bit of an overview. So we've got 2 different players. Now, we haven't made 2-player games yet, so this is going to be an interesting exercise. And I'm also using some new sprites that I've noticed have come out in a new Scratch update. We've got these top-down sprites that are really cool, and they've got 4 different like walking animations. So it looks really cool, and you can kind of point them in different directions, and it's kind of like you can have like a top-down look. And there's a few different options for this. I really like these sprites. These are very cool. So basically, we have these characters. If you did tune in for the art tutorial, we're going to be using the pen extension to do drawing, painting on the level. And then we have this tiny little dot. This dot is our paint counter. At the end of the game, it goes through the entire level and counts up all of the amount of color we have in red and all the amount of color we have in blue. It assigns a score to each player based on each time it's detected a pixel. It actually does this version of the game actually does a pixel count of every pixel in the game. It literally does every single pixel in the game. And then we do a quick check. So if it's 480 pixels across and 360 pixels down, pixels across times 300 pixels down, it actually checks 172,800 pixels and checks each of them to see if they are red or blue, and assigns a point. In fact, it does a pixel perfect check, but it's actually a 4-pixel dot. So it probably doesn't work out exactly like that. But anyway, it checks a lot of pixels, so it does a very accurate reading on who should have won the game. So that's going to be very interesting to see. All right, so I think that's all good. All right, let's make a start on this one, and then maybe if we have time at the end, Blake wants some help with the paint game. Maybe we can do that at the end. But everyone, start up a new Scratch project. We're going to make a start now. Now, I'm assuming everyone here has used Scratch before. If you haven't, then to get to Scratch, what you do is you just type Scratch into Google. You click on Scratch Imagine Program Share. It should come up the first option. And then in the top left corner, you click on Create. And then you should end up at this screen with the cat in the corner, the right corner, and everything here. If anyone is new to Scratch, just write into chat to let me know, and that way I can break down some of the more simple stuff for you. Otherwise, I will be going a bit slower because a few people have mentioned that I've been going a bit quick recently, so I'm going to try and slow things down so that people don't get left behind. But otherwise, I will assume that most of you guys have used Scratch before, so I won't explain the basic stuff on how to use Scratch. Just before we start, the other thing that I will just say is just remember everyone to be cool in chat. There's only one rule in the Coder Dojo, and that's to be cool. As in, you've got to be cool not only for you, but for everyone else. So no being mean, no being mean to the other ninjas in the chat. We all want to be supportive. We might be looking at each other's code, and we're doing that so that we can collaborate and learn and all help teach each other. We're not doing that to be like, oh man, you got it wrong, but look at me, I got it right. We don't want any of that in chat. I know that, and like things like you might find people have spelled things wrong, and I don't care about your spelling too much. You're all still pretty young, so you're learning how to spell stuff. So yeah, everyone make sure you're being cool in chat, okay? All right, that is all out of the way. I hope everyone's gotten all ready, you're all comfortable, and you've got your Scratch project started. Splatoon Part 1. And let's share this. So I'm going to put my... so I put my project in the chat so that you can follow along with what I'm doing. So let's make a start. So first things first, let's get rid of this cat sprite. Click on the little trash can, little cross symbol in the top right corner of that little of the Scratch sprite, the cat sprite, and then go to the bottom right corner to click Choose a Sprite. Now, if you type into search CHAR, I think it's like character, yeah. If you type in CHAR, char, that's short for character, you'll see we have 3 top-down characters at the end, and these are going to be perfect for what we're doing today, because we're going to play a top-down. We're making a top-down game, and a lot of the sprites are not top-down like these other ones on the left, and this is going to look great when we start turning them around. So choose whichever one you like. We're going to end up having 2 of these. I mean, theoretically, you can have 3 of them if you want. I'm going to start off with Taylor. So we should have Taylor. And just to talk about what I mentioned earlier, you'll notice that Taylor looks like it's like a bird's eye view of Taylor, and you can see all her 4 costumes. When we cycle through them, it makes it look like she is walking, which is pretty cool. Okay. So let's put some code to make it so that Taylor can walk around. I'm just going to make sure I'm caught up on chat. Okay, yep, good. Charge your laptop, good. Are you on the, Ms. Yeti, you're not on the online version of Scratch, so just choose a different character, Ms. Yeti. You just choose a different character, or else draw a simple little circle, and we can fix that later. Okay, so we've got our sprite here. We're going to rename this, so it doesn't matter which of the 3 characters you chose, or if you, like Ms. Yeti, have chosen a completely different character. We're going to rename this Player 1. Everyone do that with me now. So in the middle of the screen where it says Sprite, and then it should have a little box with the name of the sprite in it, you've got to highlight that and retype in Player 1. All right? Good. So now we're going to start putting some code into Player 1. So we're going to start off by doing some movement code. So let's go to Events and grab a When Green Flag Clicked sprite block. So you go to Events, the yellow category on the left, and you look for When Green Flag Clicked. Drag that out into the middle, and if you can see my screen, I've got it just here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab a forever. You might already be able to see the forever. If you can't see it, go down to Control, look for forever. This is a forever loop. Drag that out and connect it onto the bottom of When Green Flag Clicked. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make some MoveBlocks. So go down to, actually, before we make the MoveBlocks, go all the way to the bottom left corner, and you should see it say Add Extension. You may have already done this. My pen is already here. But click on Add Extension, and you should see then this screen. Okay? And then you do a second option of the extension that you can add is called the pen. Click on that. And then you should have, like me, underneath MoveBlocks, pen as its own category with a bunch of codes in it. We're going to need that later. All right, so now we're going to go to, after we've got the pen extension in our Scratch project, we're going to click on MoveBlocks. That's the red category in the middle left of the screen. And then click on Make a Block, gray button in the top left corner. Make a block. Click on that with me now. So we are going to make 4 blocks. The first one, type this in with me now, it's going to be called Move Up. Okay, press OK. And now you should have this define Move Up, and in the top left corner, you should also have a little Move Up line. So do that again. Click on Make a Block, and we're going to call the next one Move Down. And you might be guessing where we're going with this. We're going to create another one called Move Left. And you don't need to change any of this stuff just yet. Do another one, Move Right. So you now should have these define Move Up, define Move Left, define Move Right. Everything that we put underneath define Move Up is going to be run every time we use this little Move Up block. That's how the make blocks work. So we've basically so inside this Move Up block that I am moving around with my mouse right now, this will contain everything that we put underneath define Move Up. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to put inside our forever loop, move up, then move down, then move left, then move right. And it doesn't actually matter which order you do those in. But you've got to make sure that all 4 of them are in. Move up, move down, move left, move right. All right, I'll give you a bit of a break just to make sure you're all caught up with that. Everyone going okay? All right, let's catch up with chat. Yes, Ms. Yeti, you're on a Scratch desktop from the Microsoft Store, so yeah, you probably won't have some of the newer things. But next time you update, it'll hopefully have some of the newer sprites in it. I've noticed that they've put in some new sprites, and I think some new backdrops as well. Maybe even some new codes. That's kind of cool. Blake says, my dog wrapped up with me. It's cute. Oh, like underneath like a blanket or a doona or something? Yeah, it's pretty cold today. I'm in my jacket. It's cold in my house. I was outside for lunch and it was quite warm. All right, hopefully everyone's caught up. So we've got move up, move down, move left, move right inside the forever. And we've got our 4 define move up, define move down, define move left, define move right off by themselves. So what we're going to do is let's have a look at our define move up. We're going to put the code in for define move up, and then we're going to base everything else on that same code. So first, we're going to be controlling player 1 with, let's say, the arrow keys. So we need to put in something that detects if we've pressed one of the arrow keys. So some of you guys may know this. We've done this many times before. We need to get an if-then block. If-then is in control. So look for this little wiggly guy, if, and then there's a little 6-sided shape hole, then. Put that inside. Now, the question that we're asking, the if that we're asking, is to do with what button is being pressed. So after you've done that, go to Sensing, the light blue category. Sensing, and look for key space pressed. Key space pressed. Then put that inside. You can see that it's a 6-sided shape, like a hexagon or jewel. And it fits perfectly inside the same little hole in between the words if and then. So now we want to click on this white triangle where it says space, and then we want to select up. So if key up arrow pressed, then, now what we're going to do is we're going to use point in direction. So go to motion, the dark blue category in the top left, grab point in direction 90. Drag that out and put it inside the if. Okay? So who remembers what direction up is? So there's a number here. This number will dictate which direction you're facing. And it's to do with degrees. But if you don't know how the degrees work, it's brilliant. You just click on the 90 and it brings you up this little directional arrow that you can drag around, just like I'm doing now, and point in any direction that you like. So let's point that directly up. So if anyone answered 0, you're correct. 0 is the number that points us up when we go point in direction. Okay, so the next thing is going to be kind of cute. We're going to go to looks, and we're going to grab next costume. So you go to looks. Looks is the purple category, second from the top of categories, just underneath motion. And you look for one that says next costume. What this is going to do is it's going to cycle which costume our character is in and make it look like they're running. We've done a bit of this recently in some of our recent lessons. This is basically how animation works. Normally it's good to leave a bit more of a gap, but I think just having next costume is fine here. All right, so after that, we need them to actually move, not just point in a direction. So, because we pointed them in the right direction, we can grab a move 10 steps. So get that. It's the very top code in the motion category. And I think 10 steps a bit fast, so let's go 5 steps. So, our character is only going to walk in one direction, because we've only programmed one direction. And which direction is that? Write answers in chat. And then, once you've got the answers, give your game a test. Oh, wait. Oh, I need to start the game. Would help. There we go. Cool. So our character should walk up. Now, our character's also a bit big, so let's make them smaller. And I think a good size, I think was about 30, 25 even. Yeah, 25. So to change the size of your character, you look in the middle right of the screen, middle right, and you should see a category called size, and it should say 100 next to it. Click on that 100 and type in 25. You can change that if you want. You can have it a bit, but I quite like that speed. I think that's pretty good. I don't think, that size, I don't think we want them much bigger than that. Yeah, I like that size. All right, how's everyone going? All kept up? Good. Okay, so what we need to do now is we are going to copy this code from into all of our move down, move left, move right. So what you do is you right-click on if. So you right-click on if, so you should have your if then, right-click on it, and then you should have these 3 options. The option that we want is duplicate. So normal click on duplicate, and you should have this entire copied version of that code we just did. Do that for each of move up, move down, move left, move right. And then we need to change 2 things. 1, what direction we point in move down, move left, move right. And 2, which arrow key we press. So let's have a look at move down, shall we? If key up arrow press, well, that's wrong. We want to move down. So click on the white triangle, select down. And point in direction, click on that 0. Well, that's pointing up. That's wrong. Let's move it so it's pointing down. So it should read 180 now, pointing direction 180. Next costume is fine, move 5 steps is fine. Let's do the same thing with move left. Move left. So we want to change it to left arrow. We want to point in direction left. And move right. We want to change to if key right arrow pressed. I want to drag point in direction to be pointing in the direction right. All right, so test that now. And you should have a character who can walk in all 4 directions. Cool. How's everyone going with that? I'll make my code a bit bigger so you can see it. But hopefully the way that I've set this out kind of makes it make sense. And you can see how each code works and how each piece works. Okay. I'll just make sure you've got enough time to have done all of this. Remember, the things you need to change are what key you press and which direction you point in. That's all you need to change. You just need to make sure that those are right for each of the moves. All right. So, hopefully everyone's nicely up to date. And you've given it a test to make sure it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on. So what we need to do now is we need to make another block. So we go to MoveBlocks, the red category in the middle left of the screen, and then you click on that Make a Block button. All right, and we're going to call this block Start Painting. We want to call this block Start Painting. So now again, just like we did with all the moves and everything, we should have a little define Start Painting. Just bring that down below here. And we should also have, up in the top left corner-ish, Start Painting as a little line. So we want to start painting when the game starts. So where do we want to put this Start Painting line? We don't want to put it in the forever. If we want it to happen just once, when the game starts, where do we want it? Put your answers in chat if you know. If you don't know, stay tuned. I'm about to tell you. I'm going to zoom in. It's going to be in this block here. We want it to go right underneath when green flag clicked, before the forever. Start painting. Okay? So that's where it needs to go. So you grab out Start Painting, just the line, and put it in between when green flag clicked and forever. Hopefully you can see on my screen there. Okay, so now we need to actually put some code inside Start Painting so it actually does something. So let's come down to define Start Painting. And has everyone gotten their pen extension working? The pen extension, I don't know, open, installed, however it works, added to this Scratch project. Because if you were tuned into the drawing project that we did before, how do we start drawing on the ground? there is one of these lines here that makes us start drawing. Start painting. And if you don't, so if you've got your answers in chat, then great. If not, I'm going to tell you, it's pen down. So basically, if you can imagine, so you can see there's two codes here, pen down and pen up. If you can imagine the piece of paper is here, the pen is hovering, it's either up or it's down, touching the piece of paper. You can move the pen around, but the pen might be moving around, but not touching the piece of paper if the pen is up, right? As soon as you put the pen down to the piece of paper, that's when it actually starts drawing. So pen down means that the pen is drawing, pen up means the pen is not drawing. Okay, so then we need to set the pen to color. So you should see another line here that says set pen color to, and then a little patch with a color on it. And you can choose any color you like. I'll give you some time to do this. I like having it nice and... I'm going to have red versus blue. So you can click on this color and mess around until you have a color that you like. And then the next thing that we need to do is we need to decide how thick the pen is. How wide is it drawing? So we are going to get this last code, set pen size to. So it'll say set pen size to 1. Grab that. I've got it set at 15. You can change this if you want. But once you've done that, have a bit of a look. I like 15. You can make this number bigger if you want. What happens if you make the number bigger? Let's make it 30. Okay, it's a lot thicker now. I actually do quite like setting it to 30. Maybe we should keep it at 30. If we set it to 1, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, see, that's going to be a nightmare. You're never going to be able to color in the map with this, are you? So you decide what size you want your pen to be. I'm not going to lie, I actually kind of like 30 now. All right, I'm going to stick with 30. You can decide what thickness of pen you want. Now here's a problem. Have you noticed, when we start the game, the pen is still there? It doesn't erase it in between games, and we need it to erase between games so that we can start fresh each time. So what we're going to need to do is make sure that at the beginning of the game we erase all of the pen. So where do we put code that we want to happen at the beginning of the game? At the beginning of the game, before anything else has happened, where do we put it? Put your answers in chat now. If you don't know, that's fine. Hold on, I will give you the answer momentarily. It's over here. And it's right underneath when green flag clicked. So look over here to your code that says when green flag clicked. And right above start painting, let's do a couple of things, actually. First of all, let's decide where should your character start. So if you want your character to start in one of the corners, like the top left corner, or the bottom left corner, or the bottom right corner, or the top right corner, decide. Decide which corner they should start, or in the middle of the left side of the screen, wherever you like. Decide where you want them to start. Once you've decided, if you already know how coordinates work, then you can put the code in that will make them at the beginning of the game go to where you want them to go. So if I want my character to go here, then these coordinates are x minus 200 and y minus 10. So let's put in let's go to motion, the dark blue category in the top left corner, grab go to x minus 200 is what I've got, and y minus 10. That makes them go, so whenever we start the game, it's going to make them go back and start there, so they've got a starting position. I'm going to talk about coordinates a bit more later. If you don't understand them, if you haven't encountered them before, don't worry, we're going to cover that a little bit later. For now, if you don't understand, just go to motion, get go to x minus 200 and y minus 10. You might need to retype that in if you've got some different numbers there. Or you can choose slightly different numbers. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the other thing as well, as you can notice, is that the pen is still down. So when they move, they actually draw a bit on the map, and we don't want that to happen at the beginning of the game. So what we need to do now is we need to go to the pen extension. So right underneath MoveBlocks, go to pen, the pen category, and we're going to need to get two different things. We're going to get pen up, which you should know what that does. I explained it a little while ago. It's going to stop the character from drawing, and you're going to put that right underneath when green flag clicked. So right above, go to XY. So put that in, pen up, right underneath when green flag clicked. And then we're going to get erase all. Still in the pen category, grab erase all and put that right underneath pen up. Okay? So, once you've got those two codes in, when green flag clicked, pen up, erase all, go to X and Y. Let's see what happens. Nice. Our character, no matter where they were, gets sent back to our starting position. So, let's have a little bit of a talk about coordinates. And I'm going to do this with one of the new backdrops, or it may not be new actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to backdrops. We're going to click on choose, the bottom right corner. Actually, I should check first. I'm going to keep my screen here. Is everyone all caught up with this? Anyone stuck? I'll check the chat. Blake says, I'm doing a little saying of what to do after, so leave me last, please. Sure, Blake, no problems. Yep, and you've got some answers very correct there. And you've mentioned everyone's being quiet. Yes, everyone is being quite quiet. Maybe everyone's focused and concentrated. All right, and that's fine. So, bottom right corner, when everyone's all up to date, you've got this working well. Bottom right corner, click on choose a backdrop. This little picture of like hills. Click on that, choose a backdrop. And what we're going to do is, let's see. Yeah, cool. Type in grid, G-R-I-D. Now this, I don't know if this is new or not. Has anyone else seen this before in Scratch? Because this is really useful. Choose the first one, X, Y, hyphen grid. And this is great because it tells you exactly where all of the coordinates are. So if you haven't done coordinates before, coordinates are basically like an address. Like if you're looking up an address, like which street are you in and which house are you in, you can find where someone lives. Coordinates are like that. You've got x coordinates, and the x coordinates is a number, and the number will tell you how far left or right any one pixel is on this screen. So, and then the y coordinate will tell you how far up or down it is. So, for example, this line here is x minus 100. X minus 100. And then this line here is y minus 100. I don't know if you guys are looking at my screen. Hopefully you can see my mouse. So if we go x minus 100, we go across to here, and then y minus 100, then the address, the coordinates, x minus 100, y minus 100, are right here. And I'll put my character right there, if I can. Oh, no, I'll walk my character there. Cool. So my character is now standing on x minus 100, y minus 100. So x, when you have an x and a y, you know exactly where something is on the screen, and you can use that in your code to send something exactly somewhere on the screen. Or you can use it to detect, for example, if you've reached all the way to the end of the screen, as we have. So I find this pretty cool, the fact that we can now draw over this graph. And if you ever struggle with coordinates, maybe bring this up to give you a bit of an idea of where all the coordinates are. And then one last thing as well that I maybe didn't explain. So everything on the left side of this line in the middle, for x will be a minus number, and on the right side will be a positive number. And the same thing for y. Everything above this sideways line, everything above it is going to be a positive number, and everything below it's going to be a negative number. So this line's 100, this line's minus 100, this line's 100, this line's minus 100. All right, cool. So that's good. I've brought that up many times before, and I know that some of you guys understand it pretty well, but it is something that I think takes a bit of time to wrap your head around. So wanted to make sure that, you know, if it's something that you're still struggling with, that's how it works, okay? So yeah, Blake says yawns in chat. Well, are you being cool in chat, Blake? Other people may not understand this yet. You understand it, that's good, but you know, I'm explaining it for everyone, dude. All right, so we've got our backdrop working, and we've got our character working. All we need to do now, very simple, is copy our player one. So right-click and duplicate on player one. So everyone do this with me. If the break is over, me explaining coordinates was your little break. If you already understood coordinates, break is over. Time to code again, and then we'll pretty much done for this lesson. After we've done this, we'll have enough time to maybe look at some other stuff, and then next Splatoon lesson we'll cover how to count up all of the scores and decide who's won. Okay, so right-click on the sprite player one. Duplicate it. So you normal click on where it says duplicate, and now you should have player two. And we've got all of our code is all nicely in here already. Everything's looking good. This is very nice. So now we just need to change some things. So what we need to do now is we need to change the controls for player two. In fact, actually, you tell me, write into chat, what things do we need to change now in player two? Start listing them in chat. And if you already know how to do this, then by all means make a start. If you don't know, that's fine. Sit tight, I'm about to explain. So, get your answers in chat right now. What do we need to change in player two to make it work? Well, first things first, let's change the controls. Because right now, if I start them both, they're both on top of each other. And they both have the same controls. So where are the controls? They're in our code: move up, move down, move left, move right. And we've got the keys that we press, the keyboard keys, already here. So if we've got our player 1 is being controlled by arrow keys, then maybe player 2 could be controlled by WASD. Or if you want, you can make player 1 controlled by WASD. That's fine. I don't mind. I'm going to make it so that player 2 is being controlled by WASD. Now, some of you guys have already played games. We're probably pretty familiar with using WASD right here on your keyboard, just like there were arrow keys. But if you don't know how to do that, then just follow me and we'll do it together. So look for define move up. When you found define move up, change the key if key up arrow pressed, change that to if key W arrow pressed. If key W pressed. I'll leave this up on the screen so you can follow me. Move down needs to be changed to S. Left needs to be changed to A. And right needs to be changed to D. So up is W, down is S, left is A, and right is D. So now we should have two different controlling players. How did everyone go with that? Everyone got that working? Now, anything else that you notice that's a problem? So I'm going to catch up with chat. Ms. Yeti says, the grid background's been on Scratch for ages. I have somehow never seen it there. Like, my mind is like... this is infuriating me because I used to always bring it up in a separate thing. Ugh. Anyway, great. Actually, no, I tell a lie. I remember that the grid background was an option, but it wasn't a backdrop. You couldn't select it as a backdrop. But there was a button to press in like the menu to make the big grid backdrop to come up. That might be Scratch 1 though, or Scratch 2. Doesn't matter. Either way, I'm happy it's there, and somehow completely missed it, forgot about it. Maybe I saw it and forgot about it later, but I'm happy it's there. So hopefully we've got our controls working. That's good. So we don't have any other answers in chat for things that we need to change. Have a look. Do you see any other problems? What colors are they both doing? They're both painting red. If they're two different players, they need different colors. Remember at the beginning we had red and blue. So where is the color for our painting code? Let's have a look in Start Painting. Let's have a look on the second line of Start Painting. So look for where it says Define Start Painting. Look for Set Pen Color 2 and click on that color, which should be maybe red if you chose the same color as me, and choose a different color. And you can have whatever colors you like. Okay, so, yes, quite right, Blake. Same pen color. Got it. So now we should have... So now we've got them painting in different colors. That's good, but when we start the game, what else happens? that we need to fix. Yeah, I definitely like setting the pen size to 30. That actually looks really good. It looks a lot smoother than 15. So, I hope we've got some answers in chat. The other things, two things that I can see that need changing is they both start in the same place. We want them to start in different places. And the other thing is they both look the same. And you don't have to change this, but I would like to change this. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is we are going to first fix where they start. And you can use this as an opportunity to move the players somewhere else. So have a bit of a think about where you want your players to be. There should be a line of code that's 3 lines down from when green flag clicked that says go to X, a number, Y, and a number. So have a bit of a play with these numbers. So if we want player 1 to be in this corner and player 2 to be in that corner, we could make it so player 1 would be in about, let's say, -200 and -140. And then if we make player in x200 and 140 or 140. So if we have player 1 going to x negative -200, y -140, we can have player go to 200, x 200, and y 140. And now they should be nicely in different corners of the map that they can start. So you can decide where you want them to start. It can be anywhere you like. But should probably be on opposite sides of the map for it to be fair. So have a bit of a play with those coordinates. And the final thing to change is what they look like. And that's very simple. So let's go to player 2. Let's click on costumes. There's a few different ways of doing this, but I'm just going to show you. Actually, I'll show you a faster way. So right-click in the bottom right corner. I'm trying to think if this is going to be. No. We'll just do it this way. Bottom left corner. So click on player 2. Click on costumes. Once you're there with me, there might be faster ways of doing this, but I think this is the easiest way to do it. So you click on player 2, click on costumes, bottom left corner, click on choose a costume. And if you're on the online version of Scratch, type in CHAR. Oh, there's more this time round. Oh, wait, of course there are. It's because it's showing you all the different parts of their animation. And then you can start adding some of the costumes. Remember, so if you look at these, you can see that they'll have multiples in a row. So for example, we've got Tatiana A, Tatiana B, Tatiana C, Tatiana D. And you can see all the 4 Tatianas that I'm hovering over right now. They're different animations. So make sure, whichever one you choose, Tatiana, Taylor, or Trisha, that you choose, that you make sure you get all 4 of their costumes. And each time type in char to look for them, or you can even type in their name to look for them. What am I up to? Trisha C. I think I'm going to get Trisha. So I need Trisha A, Trisha B, Trisha C, and Trisha D. And now that we've got all of our Trishas in, Trisha A, Trisha B, Trisha C, Trisha D, you can delete some of the old costumes. So again, in the top left corner, you'll see maybe Taylor A or something like that. And when you click on it, there's a little trash can with an X on it. Click on that to delete the costume. Do that like 4 times. And you should now have 4 costumes just nicely. And we've got our 2 players. So the other thing that I would say is that the players, the players that, what's it called, should probably start on the same side as the controls. So if you've got like, you've got kind of like the 2 halves of your keyboard, the WASD for player, I don't know, 1 or 2, and the arrow keys for player 1 or 2, probably a good idea to have up on the screen behind them the characters on the correct side as a starting off point. It's not a big deal. That's just like a kind of quality of life thing. So so we've got our characters painting, we've got our characters working and moving. I'm going to spend the rest of the time maybe if anyone's run into any problems, let me know. If anything's not working, let me know. Otherwise, I might have a look at this project that Blake wants a bit of a hand with for the rest of the session today. Maybe a quick look. We'll see. Because we are running a bit out of time. Yeah, maybe next time, Blake, depending on how much time we have left, because we are running out of time today. We don't have as much time as I thought we had. Sorry about that, Blake. The other thing that you can do as well, of course, is get a new backdrop, so that they have like a cool backdrop. You can paint one, just like a grey one, which is like what I had. And then next session, we're going to talk about how we can calculate who's won. So that's pretty much everything. So while you guys are just finishing up, I'm just going to give you the sort of finishing spiel, and then we might have a quick look at maybe Blake's game. If anyone else has got the game working well, then post your Scratch name into the chat so that I can have a quick play of it before we finish up. So as always, you can leave comments in either this YouTube video once the live stream is over. You can leave a comment on the video saying what you would like me to do in the future. You can also put a comment with like a link to your Scratch project if you like. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if YouTube comments allow links now that I think about it. And you can always subscribe and ring the bell, which makes you sound like a terrible, dirty YouTuber. But that will let you know when we're doing next new live streams. We do these live streams every Monday, every Tuesday, every Thursday at 4 p.m. The next stream, which is on Thursday, is going to be asteroids. We're going to make an asteroids shooting game, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So, before I go, let's see if we can play a few Ninjas games. Let's have a quick play of Blake's game. If anyone else has finished theirs... Oh, Inches. I wonder if Inches is ready to go. Let me know in chat if yours is ready to go, Infamous. Sorry, not Infamous. Inches. Not this one. Or maybe it is this one. No, it's not that one. View all. Alrighty. I don't see. Have you saved? Have you shared? Have you saved? You might not have. Make sure that you share and save it. All right, I know you haven't said you were ready, Inches, but let's just have a look. So let's see how far you got. Get ready for annoying voices, you say. Okay. This is pretty good, Inches. You've got pretty much everything working. All you need to do Oh, you've changed some of the colors. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, this is really good, Inches. Well done. Yeah, you've got pretty much everything there. Yeah, if you want to add in a second player, then that's all you need to do. All right. Very nice, Inches. I'd recommend keeping going with that because that's very well done. Yeah. All right. Oh, wait, here we go. Splatoon. Ooh, this is cool. Player 2 starts in the bottom right. Player 2. A, S, W, D. Player 1 starts at the top left. Player 1, arrow key, space to start. Nice. Very nice, Blake. Very nice indeed. Very cool. Very cool. All right, well, I hope you have all enjoyed this. And tune in next time we do Splatoon Part 2. And we will be calculating how to win the game by using our pixel counting paint counter sprite. And that's going to be a lot of fun, and that's one of the reasons why I talked about this grid backdrop so much, because we're gonna talk about that in our part 2. So as a reminder, next Thursday is our next stream. So Thursday in 2 days' time, 4 p.m. We're going to be doing an asteroids shooting game. That should be a lot of fun. And until I see you guys then, stay awesome, be cool to each other, and take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time, ninjas.